attractive shot. Oh God, I don't have another one in me. Okay, well, there we go. Well, I'm feeling warmed up. Welcome to Get Lit Globe, where we interview poets and artists from around the world and locally via webcam. Today we have a very special in-person guest, Jessica Romoff. Jessica is a poet, activist, and journalist. She's spoken at the Women's March in LA. She was one of the first Youth Poet Laureate ambassadors of Los Angeles, and she currently writes for Flaunt magazine. Make sure to check out her articles as well as her new podcast, Tour Bus Legends, where she talks with bands about their craziest stories. It's streaming everywhere now, and by everywhere, I do mean Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Check it out. So without further ado, welcome, Jessica Romoff.
And everyone's clapping now, like, yay.
Yeah, well, they would be if they weren't watching behind their computers.
It's so interesting hearing you do like the voice, like the broadcasting voice.
Really? Is it different from my normal voice?
Yeah, no, I like it. I always
Does
wondered.
it sound professional?
No, it's
even
so
with
professional.
My retainer lisp?
Yeah, I
my
feel like I was going
Invisalign?
on like Ellen or something.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Good. Trying to be super professional about it.
Yeah, it feels like it.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here. I haven't seen you in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Since you moved to New York. First of all, let's talk about how we met. When I first came to your school many moons ago.
Well, even before that, I remember when I first saw you, I was in 7th grade and I wasn't even interested in poetry. I think like I was good at math or something, or I hated school. And then I remember when my teacher, Alex Trivis, like put a lot of different slam poems on. We had no idea what that was at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was like kind of bored. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. And then there was this one poet, which was you, on the screen. And I remember hearing like my mom talking to me, and it was insane. And I had never felt like anybody understood that conflict of a relationship with their mother, and it was insane to feel so validated. And I remember breaking down. It was like so dramatic. I was in 7th grade, but and then you came to our school like a month later, and that was an incredible experience seeing you like just validate everything I've ever felt when I was that age, and honestly still now, like a really difficult relationship with your mother when they just want you to be something, and they have the best, they want everything for you, and they're just not doing it in the right way. And I think that your poem really brought me to terms with that. So yeah, that was the first time we met.
Thanks. Not to blow smoke on my own ass, but
Yeah.
so then you joined Get Lit, what, a few years after that? You were 12 at the time?
No, I must have
or
been,
something?
I think I was like, they're all 12, like 12 to like 14, you're basically still 12. So yeah. I was
Okay, yeah.
probably,
No, when I
like,
first did the
13.
show at Brentwood, I had no idea that he had shown my video to all the kids beforehand, which made me super nervous to be like performing it there at your school. But then
Really?
I remember he introduced me to you afterwards, like specifically. He's like, she really wants to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And it was such a nice moment. It was so sweet, and I felt like really touched.
I've never like felt like so starstruck. I remember we were in the class and we saw like all the Get Lit poets like walking like out the side on the road, and we were like, oh my god. Like everyone was like pressing their faces against the windows. It was really funny, but yeah. And then it was really cool getting to work with you and Get Lit, because like even though like you were doing completely different things, we're still in the same program-ish. It was just dope, like getting to work with your heroes. It was really sick.
Yeah. And you're still writing now, right? You're a journalism and
Music major.
at NYU, right? And how's that been going? You're what, a sophomore now?
Yeah, I'm a rising junior, so it's really good. It's interesting, a different kind of writing. I originally went into NYU wanting to be a creative writing major, but that's like really not existent there. So I was like, oh my god, like I want to write, but literature major just like didn't make any sense for me. And then I decided to try journalism, and it's very similar to poetry in the sense, but I've been so used to writing about myself. So this is really amazing getting to write about other people and like projecting their stories. But having a poetry background has helped me so much. And then, I'm doing music as well, which is really cool. I like it a lot.
Because you do write for Flaunt magazine. Can you talk about how that got started?
Yeah, so basically, I had a friend who I met through this program Teen Line a while ago that I was part of. She was working there, and I was gonna be here for the summer, and I was like, I would love to write for a magazine, but it seemed so impossible. And then I submitted my resume like 30 times, and they're like, okay, yeah, like, fine, you can like work for us.
Persistence.
I know.
That's how it works.
Yeah, and then I just told them like I really love writing about music, but I'd never really covered a concert before or anything, or interviewed like anyone like that I cared about music-wise. And then they let me do that, so I got to interview all of my favorite musicians like in the past summer, and it's been so dope. But poetry really helps. I feel like it's very poetic writing, journalism. So
Right. No, and I read some of your articles, and it does sound like, I mean, I didn't expect journalistic writing to sound like beautiful, like prose, the way that it does. But you do a very good job of it.
thank you. That's very nice.
Who are some of your favorite musicians that you got to interview? I know you interviewed Mac DeMarco.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
How was
really
that?
sick.
He seems like a weird guy to interact
He
with.
is so fantastic. Like, my editor was just like, "Who's free Friday?" And like, I was a maniac, and I was like, "Me." Like, he'd finish a sentence, I'd be like, "Me." So he was like, "Okay, do you want to interview Mac DeMarco?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, I would like kill my family to interview Mac DeMarco." Like, he's been one of my favorite musicians ever. So I thought it was gonna be at a studio, and then I didn't really read the email well enough because I was just like so like buzzed and excited. And then I realized it was at his house. So I like, it was so
No
dope.
way.
So I got to like go to his house, and I was like really fucking freaking out because I don't know, like I've seen him like perform, and he seems like the kind of person that is just like so much above me that any question I'd ask him he'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like that's like a question you could ask."
No.
I was like really nervous it'd be like that. So I like worked like for like 5 days on these questions, like trying to make them perfect. And then, yeah, I went to his house. It's like a cute little, like very modest house. He was so nice. We just sat in his backyard, like smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee. And then the interview was like an hour, and it was amazing. We just talked. It was so really cool.
That does sound cool. Damn.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I feel like everybody perceives like artists to be either condescending or like stupid, and he.
But I heard that
has
he's
all of it.
actually a really nice, like, chill guy to
He's
talk to, right?
so cool, like almost dad vibes. Like,
Really?
reminded me of like a dad, like in the morning. So it was really cool.
Is that, so your work with Flaunt Magazine, is that how you got started doing this podcast? I mean, I wanted to wait to talk about that later, but I'm really curious about it. It sounds really
Yeah.
interesting. I did not get a chance to listen to the first episode
You're
yet,
okay.
but here, let me actually intro that. So let's talk about your new podcast,
Yeah.
Tour Bus Legends. How did that get started? How did you get the idea for that?
Yeah, so basically my boyfriend Austin, we've always thought about having a podcast, and we're both like super into the same kind of music, and he was like, we should have this podcast where we interview our favorite bands. And I'm a journalist, a music journalist, so I was like, that'd be so cool. And then we wanted to, I don't love reading most interviews with musicians because they're always the same kinds of questions, like who are your influences, like what's your favorite song, like where do you enjoy touring? And I don't know, they're never very interesting answers. So the best answers are always like, what are your craziest stories?
Yeah.
So we were just like, let's focus a podcast on that. And we got the equipment, we like got it all on Craigslist, like running around LA. And then we contacted all of our favorite bands. Most of them didn't respond, but the best ones did. And then, yeah, we've been interviewing them, like going to their houses or like in parks or festivals. So it's been really cool.
So first of all, do you still do spoken word poetry at all? Do you ever perform at open mics and stuff?
So I began doing that right when I got to New York. I was like hungry for a community because I didn't really have anybody I knew there. Like I was in Italy my first year, so my sophomore year I didn't really have a community.
And the
so-
spoken word community is so tight-knit. Like everybody
Totally.
knows everywhere, all
Yeah.
across the country and the world, so.
1,000,000%. And I thought it was going to be a lot like my community here. And I went, and it just didn't feel like the same, and it felt really competitive, which I wasn't looking for.
Right, New York is a little more cutthroat in
Yeah,
most ways.
totally. Which like I never really considered poetry to be, but they're awesome. The New York poets are all amazing. So, but I did some open mics, and then I joined NYU Slam, and then I just kind of realized that I felt like slam poetry, like in the sense of competing, wasn't something I was interested in anymore. Like I don't want my life, what I create to be used, to be like rated anymore. It was really
Right.
fun when I was with Matt and Alicia, and I was with my poetry team, and that was like a beautiful moment in its time, but that's not something I'm trying to do anymore, and I realize that. I still write poetry all the time. I'm still like submitting to publications and stuff, and I worked for a literary magazine at NYU, but not so much slam, and I still love reading it. I'll go to open mics, but
would you mostly consider yourself to be like more of a page poet?
Yeah, I think I always was.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you were too. Your style is very literary.
totally.
Yeah.
It's just harder for me also to like say it out loud. It just never came naturally.
Yeah, because there's this poem that you have on Instagram, which is amazing, by the way. It's about like you turned New York into this character in itself, and it reads very well, but I don't know how you would. Have you ever performed that one?
I did when I tried out for the NYU Slam team, I think. Actually, no, I did. And it did well. Like, it was fun. I got a good score, but it just didn't feel natural to say out loud. Like, I think with slam poetry, I'm so conditioned to, when I read my poem out loud, I'm upset or I'm hurt, which was great for me at the time when I was ultimately, most of the time, really upset and hurt. But now when I don't write about that, I don't know. I would need Matt and Alicia to help me. Like, I
because
really
it turns into because it's a performance piece, and it has to be polished, and it sort of you've developed this cadence and blah blah blah.
Totally. I'm like used to like getting really angry into the mic and then feeling amazing afterwards. But without that, I don't know. I think I would need like more help from Matt and Alicia if I wanted to do something like a different kind of poetry. Out loud. But I still write a lot and I still read all the time, so it's still there.
Have you ever gotten to meet any of your favorite writers and poets?
Yeah, I mean, most of them I like get to spend time with, like Matthew Cuban and Alicia Wise, my favorite. Tanya Ingram, she's amazing. She really helped me out when I moved.
But people you were already fans of, and then
no, Marie. I met Jeffrey McDaniels for a second. And that was awesome, but it wasn't like I got to talk with him.
Was it at the festival?
Yeah.
I had him sign my poetry book.
Yeah. That was insane.
I also wanted to ask you about the Women's March really quickly.
Of course.
So you got to perform a poem at the Women's March a few years ago. How did that happen, and how was that experience? Were you like shitting your pants, or?
No, not at all. I also think I wasn't shitting my pants because it didn't really make sense what I was doing. Like, Diane was like, yeah, like, do you want to, like, perform, like, this poem? And I was like, okay, dope.
I love your reaction. It was shit.
No, like, I just, like, didn't really, like, expect, like anything. And it was an incredible experience. But I wasn't, like, like, moving up. Like, it wasn't like, you're going to be performing on top of this van in front of a sea of people.
You performed on top of a van?
It was, like, this big thing, and it was, like completely devoured by like tons of people. I was not expecting that. Dan was gonna be like, yeah, you're gonna perform like this poem. It's like super like low key. I thought it was gonna be maybe like a booth or something. So I was like, oh, that'll be fun. And then they're like, okay, yeah, you're gonna stand up on top of this thing and then
perform for 75,000 people.
Yeah, that was, so I think I didn't even get nervous because I didn't expect that to happen. Damn. And that's not what I was told would be happening. But it was so crazy, like saying something and have that many people responding to you. It was so cool.
I can't imagine. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, I still feel it all the time. Just like that wave of empathy almost. And also like anger too. It was really cool. Yeah, but I loved it. I was sick, but I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions now. They have nothing to do with anything.
Cool.
I just felt like asking them.
I'm really excited. Okay.
All right, and just say the first thing that comes into your head. Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah.
Just, rapid fire is the whole idea of it.
For sure. I'm ready.
Are you ready? You're ready. What's one trait you admire most in other people?
Good listeners.
When's the last time you felt completely out of place, and why?
At my office, the third day when everybody was talking about big Instagram people, and I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about. So not that deep, but I remember being, what the fuck?
Your office?
Yeah, at Flaunt Magazine.
Oh, right, Flaunt Magazine. Okay.
They were like, that's a vibe. That's not a vibe. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
That's a vibe. I've never said that.
That's like a clinical term there.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, right?
What are you most afraid of?
Abandonment.
What's a deal breaker for you in a relationship, romantic or otherwise?
If they're gluten-free.
good gluten-free food. What's one major thing you want to accomplish this year?
Getting better at regulating my extreme emotions and making it easier for people I have relationships with when I get like overwhelmed.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay,
it's been a few years in the making.
Oh yeah. Well, people never. It's always good to keep improving. What's your least favorite word?
Vibe.
What's the first thing you did when you woke up this morning?
I turned my alarm off and then went back to sleep.
Same, every day.
But also
every
like the
single
45 alarms, like I turned them all off.
Assuming you can't choose both, would you rather spend a lifetime with someone who challenges you or makes you laugh?
Makes me laugh. I challenge myself enough.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
What's the best job you've ever had?
Being a big sister.
Aw, that's sweet. I would not have said being a little sister. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Working as a hostess in a restaurant. It was terrible. It was like dim lighting, and it looked like we were like in the bunkers of a ship.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's called the Water Grill. It was
Depressing.
a bummer.
Okay, what's the best concert you've ever been to?
This concert, there's a Together Pangea concert. There's this band my boyfriend and I really like, and I'm a big fan of moshing and crowd surfing, my favorite things in the whole world. And we both got like thrown up at the same time, and we're like crowd surfing, and then got thrown on stage. And I've never like stage dived in, whatever. I've never stage dived before. Yeah. Before. And I was like, holy shit. And it was like my favorite song was playing, and I just jumped back like that, and then I was caught immediately. It was like the most liberating feeling ever.
Wow.
And yeah, and then
if that happened to me, they would drop me immediately.
I don't think so. Normally they have to catch you because they're there. It's so jam-packed, so you don't.
That's so cool though.
It was
That's
really
insane.
fun. It was the best feeling ever. So yeah, that's my favorite.
Damn. Have you ever been recognized in public by a stranger?
Yeah.
For what? Was it for the show?
The show, and then also poetry.
For your
It's actually
poetry?
been mainly poetry, which is really cool. It happens a lot in LA and then a lot in like Washington Square Park.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really sweet. I love talking with people who also like poetry. It's like
Do
so
they
dope.
ask to take your picture? Do they ask for your autograph and stuff like that?
Not
or-
autograph. It's like, oh my god, can I get like an Instagram photo with you? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but like, sure.
Wow.
So yeah, but it's actually always like a treat because I get to like meet someone who also cares so much about
Oh my gosh.
words as I do as well.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Man, my ego would blow up if that happened to me.
Really?
I'd be like, guys, yeah. I'm famous.
Yeah, that 13-year-old girl over there in the Uggs.
She loves me.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. What are some things you'd put on your bucket list? If you had one.
Driving cross country, finishing all of Margaret Atwood's books.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Oh my god, have you read her poetry?
Yes, I love her poetry.
Oh my god, Helen of Troy does tabletop dancing. Have you read that one?
I don't remember it.
Okay, you would. It's my favorite poem of all
Wait,
time.
do you remember any lines from it? Because then I would.
It's like, this is my swan song, like touch me and you'll burn, or like that's like the end of it or something. You'll have to read. I'll show you after. You'll love it.
Okay.
Yeah. But bucket list, get better at not yelling. I feel like when I get really like either excited or angry, I'll just start to yell. Like more actually when I'm excited, I just get really loud. I need to chill that out.
I do that too. So that's it for the rapid interview questions. Tell the people how they can find you on social media, online, Flaunt Magazine, and for your new podcast.
Okay, great. So for my Instagram, it is Jessica_Romoff, ROMOFF. And then on Flaunt Magazine and in my articles, you could just go to flauntmagazine.com and then type in my name. They're all there. They're pretty fun. And then my podcast is just Tour Bus Legends on literally anything at Tour Bus Legends. And yeah, I hope you look up the podcast. We really need listeners.
Follow it on Instagram as well.
Yeah, please. So I
Sounds
don't have to pay
very
for promoted posts.
Yeah.
I did that. I got literally 0 followers.
I saw it. Yeah, that
Really?
was cool. I did. I saw your promoted post.
Oh, it was, yeah, no one liked it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, don't do that.
I gotta go back and like it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jessica. It was a pleasure to have you and to see you again.
Having
It
me.
was great to catch up. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Enjoy.
And that's it. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like and comment on this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when we upload new content. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.